What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. We're taking a look at Warhammer Darktide here on the Steam Deck, and its performance may not be perfect, but at least it does launch and run and is playable now on the Steam Deck, which is much different than things were back during the closed beta. So let's go ahead and take a closer look here. Now, this isn't a Steam Deck compatible game as far as their system says. That could change in the future, but it is launching and running without forcing any particular compatibility layers here. So I left that alone. If you guys are getting better performance or different performance with other compatibility layers, definitely let me know in the comments down below. So let's launch into the game here. The first thing is the settings. So for most of the video, I had this set with quality FSR 2 and low on the settings with things like motion blur and whatnot and turned off that I would normally have off for these types of testing videos. Performance is, like I said, playable. I'll talk about that a little bit more. We're going to be getting into a 30 FPS cap with this game for the most part. You could definitely bump these settings up, and we'll talk about that too. But as we get in here with uncapped frame rate with these particular settings, just at the hub here before we go out into a mission to see how things are working, it's pretty evident that, this game is tough to run. I've run it on other systems, and running above 30 is going to be very difficult. So pretty much off the bat, deciding to run this game with a 30 FPS cap. And whether I want to go with mostly low settings, a mix of low medium, or more medium, I can pretty much get this kind of 30 FPS performance. You could always go in here and go with more FSR balanced, and then more of a medium settings if the game just doesn't look good enough for you, because it can look pretty rough at low. But again, all of the footage I did in here, I kind of stuck with my low settings and quality on my FSR, but play around with these settings, get it working how you want. Here's medium right here with balance just in the hub. And when you get into some heavier areas of combat and a lot is going on later in the game in missions, medium may or may not quite hold the same performance as low, but it'll do pretty good. Now, as we get into the mission here, I'll leave this go back to unlocked with all those low settings I showed you earlier, FSR on quality here, and again, a good example of why we're not going to try to stay above 30 FPS in this game. Anytime you get into a lot of action, you're going to be below 40. Times you will dip into the 20s as well, but for the most part, the game will try really hard to hold 30 FPS, which is why, again, I'm just going to pretty much stay away from anything above 30 when it comes to this game. I think it's a little bit more enjoyable on the deck. So we're going to go ahead and use the deck's built-in frame rate limiter here, hit 30 FPS, and then you'll see our frame times immediately are going to start to smooth out, at least in this area anyway, and things are going to be running a bit better. Now let's change up where we're at here, and as you get into some other areas that are loading in, or you have a lot more draw distance or a lot more to going on the screen, you're going to have things change in your frame times here, and your FPS will at times in this game drop below 30, regardless of what you really do with your settings. It's just the way it's going right now. There could be patches that come down the line that help smooth out some of this performance just enough to where on deck we do really hold that 30. I could see that happening. But right now, at pre-release, a little bit here, right before the game comes out, playing, we're not quite there. But seeing how the game didn't used to launch at all, and now it does, and I can actually play through, it's not too bad. Now here's FSR off completely with all the other settings the same, and you'll see the frame times actually kind of do pretty well here, but we're using GPU side a little bit more, and we're going to be under 30 the whole time. I don't think with low or medium or a mix or anything, you're going to want to try to really run with FSR off, but I did just want to show it here real quick for you guys that might want to see, because it is the best picture quality, but not a great option here. So I'm going to go back in, and I'm going to turn this FSR back on here, and we're going to go back on to balanced instead of quality, just to see what the difference is. And when I'm on low settings or medium settings, there's not a big difference, although balanced is definitely better if you're trying to get a few medium settings in there when it comes to performance. But anyways, you'll see here, frame times get a little bit crazy, but we will try to stay back up at that 30 FPS. And again, I call the game playable. It doesn't feel as bad as it looks. I'm actually enjoying it on the deck. I don't love 30 FPS, but on the smaller screen for Darktide, it actually doesn't look too bad. Now, docked or blown up or on a larger screen, even with medium settings, the game could look a bit rough, or especially with low. But on the deck screen, playing this way at the 30 FPS and everything with these settings, it's actually been pretty decent. Anyways, guys, I hope this video helps kind of show you the performance here of Darktide and give you an idea what you might want to do with your settings for how you want to play the game. All right, thanks a lot for coming and check out the video. As always, if you haven't already, subscribe, thumbs up, ring the bell, leave me your comments, and I'll see you guys in the next one.